They did what no other American soldier could during World War II. They wielded a weapon no other American soldier could use. It was a weapon learned in childhood. It was the Japanese language. These were the soldiers of the Military Intelligence Service, the MIS. At a time when their country did not trust them and they were stripped of their civil rights, these men were the first of thousands of Japanese American soldiers who defended the land of their birth.
This is our country. Japan is not our country. No matter how you look at it, you have to fight for your country. It doesn't matter who the enemy is.
Most of these soldiers were Nisei, or second-generation Japanese American. Some of these Nisei were Kibei, that is, they were born in America and sent to Japan to be educated. Ironically, while these soldiers were fighting an enemy that shared a common ancestry, their families were imprisoned in the United States by the same government the MIS soldiers had sworn to defend.
You take the oath to uphold the Constitution and fight for freedom and liberty, and to find your parents and siblings in camp. It was very difficult.
Japanese Americans in the Pacific War had to fight 3 wars. One was obviously the enemy and discrimination at home. But we in the MIS had to fight another war to prove ourselves in a battle, because we're always suspect of our loyalty.
The MIS soldiers interrogated prisoners, translated captured documents and diaries, intercepted communications, flushed out enemy soldiers and civilians from caves, and infiltrated enemy lines.
You got to know the culture and the background, because it's not just a matter of putting words together. It's a very complicated situation. You're not talking to friends, you're talking between 2 enemies trying to get information to help your own side.
They didn't have the luxury of treating the Japanese soldiers that they were fighting against as non-human creatures. They knew they were human. They knew they had feelings. They read their diaries and letters. Even after the Japanese soldiers had died, they could read the soldiers' letters and diaries. They cried over some of this stuff.
After the war, during the occupation of Japan, the MIS soldiers helped establish peace and spread democracy in the Pacific.
Without the Nisei, particularly the Kibei, who had had both the advantage and disadvantage of having spent years in Japan learning the language, but even more important, learning the philosophy of the Japanese in Japan. Without that specific understanding, emotion, and compassion, it would have been impossible for MacArthur and the American government to have instituted the kind of democracy that Japan enjoyed and was able to accept at that time. So from that occupation viewpoint, the role of the Nisei in establishment of Japan as a democracy was absolutely essential.
Their service helped win another battle, the fight for redress, when the U.S. government formally apologized for imprisoning those of Japanese ancestry during World War II. The story of these veterans goes on long after their service. In June of 2000, more than a half-century after they served, these soldiers were honored with a Presidential Unit Citation. They had to fight for it because they never served together as a unit.
I just want to say that it is with the greatest feeling of humility and honor that I accept this prestigious Presidential Unit Citation for all of the men who served in military intelligence service during World War II.
There's no question that no matter what position any of us attain, whether it's me or anyone else in public office or in public service, we've only been able to attain those positions because of the past record of those in the military intelligence service, what our parents taught us, and To me, it's sort of a driving force.
A force that helped shape a people and a nation. The idea of a secret language school began in the spring of 1941, before war in the Pacific broke out. It would be housed at San Francisco's Presidio in an old aircraft hangar, Building 640.
We're a milling around the Building 640. What are we doing here? What's this all about? A whole bunch of Niseis. What they're going to do to us? But on the 1st of November, we found out why we were assembled there. We were to learn Japanese language.
I reported to the hangar, and I couldn't believe that this is a school to begin with. And I couldn't find the door to go into the hangar.
Oh, it was a dilapidated building.
In fact, it was so cold, because of the cement floor. And we hung our duffel bag on the bunk.
It was a 2-level bunk. Oh, entire floor, 2-level bunks.
One side of the building became a commandant's office, faculty room, and classrooms. And the other half became our living quarters. 60 of us were classified into A, B, and C. A is Kibe. B is Nisei, who spoke a little bit of Japanese and conduct a conversation. C, the kids that never spoke Japanese. And then we had a special section for Caucasian students.
Your study is long, from 8 o'clock in the morning and to 4 o'clock and then 7 to 9, so that you're already tired, you sleep well, But the shower facility is limited, so that we had to take turns.
And that was it, the very Spartan life.
December 7th, 1941 changed everything.
The curriculum became intense, and our attitude became different. And we focused more on combat and what you do in combat, the nature of war, the order of battle, significance, identification of the enemy, geography, and things Japanese.
This first class was the only one held in Building 640 in the Presidio of San Francisco. Soon after Pearl Harbor was bombed, Executive Order 9066 was issued. It ordered the confinement of people of Japanese ancestry on the West Coast, so the MIS language school moved to Minnesota. Building 640 in the Presidio of San Francisco was the original site of what was first known as the 4th Army Intelligence School and became the Military Intelligence Service Language School. It was the secret training ground during World War II for mostly Japanese-American soldiers in Japanese language skills. The National Japanese-American Historical Society, the National Park Service, and the Presidio Trust are partnering to create the MIS Historic Learning Center. They will present the little-known story of soldiers who fought the injustices of discrimination and defended their country loyally while their families were imprisoned on the West Coast. Educational programs will focus on the irony of their situation and ask the question, what would you have done? Permanent and temporary exhibits will present archival photographs, oral histories, historic documents, and other artifacts to interpret these times. This will be a place that talks about war in the context of peace, a place where differences can be resolved, a place to find that knowing another culture is more than acquiring language skills. At the MIS Historic Learning Center, we will be inspired by how those before us dealt with intolerance and extreme challenges and came away with a stronger sense of what it means to be an American.